Disclaimer: this speech is not original and has been copied. It is not an attempt to show it as an original work, but an adoption of the real speech for our English project.
One of the funny things about owning a brain is that you have the control over the things that it gathers and holds on to, the facts and the stories. And as you get older, it only gets worse. Things may stick around for years sometimes before you even realize why you're so interested in them. Years too of mine. When Richard Feynman was a young boy, he went for a walk with his dad, his wagon, and a ball. And he noticed that whenever he pulled his wagon, the ball went to the back of the wagon. He asked, "Why does the ball go to the back of the wagon?" His dad said, "That's inertia." He asked, "What's inertia?" The reply was, "Inertia is the name given by the scientists to the phenomena of the ball going to the back of the wagon." When in reality, no one really knows. Feynman went on to earn degrees at MIT, Princeton. He solved the Challenger disaster. He ended up winning Nobel Prize in Physics for his Feynman diagrams describing the movement of subatomic particles. And he credits that conversation with his father of giving him a sense of how even the simplest questions could carry out to the edge of human knowledge. And that's where he wanted to play. And play he did. Now, Eratosthenes was the third librarian at the Great Library of Alexandria. He contributed many things to science, but the one he's most famous for began with a letter. And the letter contained this fact that got stuck in his mind. The fact was, as the writer says, when at noon on the solstice, when I was looking down this deep well, I was able to see my reflection, and moreover, I could see that my head was completely blocking the sun. Now I should tell you that the idea that Christopher Columbus discovered the world to be spherical is totally bold. It's not true at all. And in fact, everyone who was educated knew this fact since the time of Aristotle. And Aristotle proved this by simple observation. He observed that whenever he saw the Earth's shadow on the moon, it was circular. And the only shape that constantly creates circular shadow is a sphere. QED. The Earth is sphere. But no one knew the size of the Earth until Eratosthenes got this letter. And so Eratosthenes understood that the sun was directly above the Sirius Swenet, as it was a straight line all the way down the well, right past the guy's head up to the sun. He knew another fact. The fact was a stick stuck in the ground in Alexandria at noon on the same day cast a shadow which shows that sun was 7.2 degrees off axis. And by using the present 10th grade trigonometry, he calculated it to be 25,000 miles, which is within 1% of the Earth's actual diameter. He did this 2,200 years ago. Now, we live in an age where multi-billion-dollar pieces of machinery are searching for Higgs boson, but for most of human history, we had to discover these things using our own eyes, our ears, our brain. This is what really gets me going about science. Whenever I'm having trouble in understanding a concept, I go back and research the people who discovered those concepts. I search the story of how they came to understand it. Most people think of science as a closed dark box, but in reality it is an open field, and we are all explorers. The people who discovered those concepts thought a little bit harder about the things they saw, and they were a little bit more curious, and the curiosity changed the way people thought about the world. This changed the world, and they changed the world, and so can we.